Hey guys, um, I want to get on here and talk a few minutes. Um, I know I didn't get to go live today. Um, I have not felt good at all. I'd run to town and back. I stopped at a cemetery. I uploaded that clip a little bit ago. Uh, Mount Olive Cemetery. I don't know if it might be an attachment. I don't know. But I started feeling drained, uh, hurting, plumb down to the bone nearly, muscles aching, whatnot. So I come home. I laid down and shoot. I slept till nearly 8 o'clock. Uh, Laid down about 4:30, something like that. Um, and I hate not going live. You guys know that. Um, I bought me another blacklight bar. I'm gonna hang it a little bit higher than this one to make the pictures glow more. Um, I may see if I can move this one up, and I got another lamp. I'm also gonna see about getting a bulb for it, so I'm gonna try to get that done in the morning. Uh, but it's just been a rough day, guys. I'm sorry, is all I can say. Uh, Hope all y'all doing good and everything and stuff. And I just, I don't know. It's just been one of them daggum days. You know what I mean? Uh, so days that I don't get to go live like I want to. I noticed a couple jumped off, probably because of that. Uh, I'm just a normal person, just like you guys are. Um, I I get sick. I have bad days like everybody else. Um, it's just like I ain't got no energy at all. So any prayers would be greatly appreciated. Um, Again, guys, if you guys want to order anything, uh, send to the Cash App and get you something. uh, who knows? You might want some glow in the dark socks. I don't know, daggum. Uh, Tomorrow, uh, I'm gonna do a little story time with Mother. So I'm gonna have her on uh, sometime during the day tomorrow. Um, I wanted to, you know, at least put up some kind of content. Um, I didn't even feel like sitting here uploading them clips earlier. I finally took me something else for a little bit of pain, which ain't kicked in yet either. But um, I think uh, just being able to talk to you guys sometimes and just hang out, is awesome as well. So, uh, you know who you are that jumped off. Uh, so, if you are jumping off because I can't go live just every single night, I'm sorry for you. But again, I'm human as well. Um, and I'll give the rundown on me so you guys all will know. Um, I have 4 herniated discs and 4 slip discs, and they went in and supposedly cut the nerve endings on the bottom half, on the 4 herniated on the bottom, which has still not helped. Um, when I take that medicine, it does all right, but he's going to have to up that milligram because it only lasts for like 20 minutes and then right back. Um, but then with my nerve medicine, I took it and it was just too much. So I was supposed to wait 12 hours to take it. And that's how come I didn't get to stay live but just a few minutes the other night. I waited 6 hours and took it, and it just knocked me out. Damn it. Okay. Um, there's gonna be a little bit of story time here as well. I know back when I was probably, I'd say, 14, 13, 14 year old, where me and my mom, my stepdad lived, uh, I noticed a white dog come walking out of the woods, and we had about 4 or 5 acres there, so it walked all the way up through and come up by the house, and I had my window open that night, and I was watching it. It was a pretty dog, uh, but I noticed something a little strange. Most time, if you look at an animal at night, which I didn't use a light, they'll glow in the dark. You know, their eyes will. This one, when it turned and looked, the eyes were red. Um, but at the time, I didn't think nothing of it. Um, well, it walked up on kind of up on the hill a little bit and got up kind of close to the road, and it stood up. Um, how I still to this day can't explain how, uh, but just stood straight up. Now, if it was anything abnormal as far as maybe a shapeshifter, I don't know. Um, I just don't know, guys. But I've had some friends and things to go camping in the woods around here. And as I've got older, I've told them, don't go in the woods unprotected. Um, and I've told them this story, and it's people that know me and know that I'm not the type of person. If I say something, I don't say it if I don't mean it, kind of thing. And thank goodness they took my word for it. It was on a Saturday night. Uh, I believe it was mid-August, so it was kind of hot and muggy. Uh, they had set up camp down close to a little stream, uh, and I guess the mosquitoes and whatnot got pretty bad. So they got in the tent and zipped it up, and they were hearing some sounds. They probably figured it might be coyotes or something coming down to get a drink, in the creek. Um, and my buddy Daniel, he unzipped the tent just a little bit, and at the time, all they had was just a flip phone, and I think they had some of them little BlackBerry slide phones back then. Uh, and he took a picture, and it was a white dog, almost looked like a German Shepherd, like the one I seen. That's the way it looked, like a German Shepherd. Um, and I guess he didn't think much of it, and he zipped it back, and they laid back down, and a few minutes later they heard a little bit of growl, uh, and then it seemed like off in the distance, well, they heard a growl again. So they thought, well, maybe you know the two males may fight over the territory. You know how animals are. Um, but after about 10 or 15 minutes, it was like they were 4 or 5 animals surrounding their tent. They could hear their heavy breathing. Um, the only thing that was different was their breathing wasn't normal. It didn't sound like any animal they've ever heard. Um, it, it really shook them up. It really shook them up. So Nathan, well, Nathan had already woke up, and they left the lights out. They had lights, in the tent, but they left them out. And they heard some splashing around in the creek and everything and whatnot. And they unzipped the tent just a little bit more, and they were watching, through the phone camera, and everything seemed to be, pretty normal. Um, and it was probably maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes uh, till daylight. They didn't get much sleep at all. And what what was so strange about it is, and I'll tell you in a minute why I'm telling this story. Um, Once it did get daylight, um, they got out, and if you remember back or go watch my video, it's a place called Butler's Mill, um, a good camping spot. It's like rock, smooth rock, and then just you walk down into the water, into the creek, a little river, and you can wade out. Some spots in there, right in there, is about 4 or 5 feet deep. But now there's spots on down in there that's probably 20 or 30 feet deep. But not right there where they were. Um, well, when they got out, they got their shoes on, and walked to the edge of the water. What was strange, and he took photos of it, was human feet, wet human feet prints on the rock. So that, was totally strange. But then again, what I seen when I was 13, 14 year old, of course a dog can rear up, but most of the time they rear up and put their paws on you to stand up, but not just rear up and just stay standing up. So, that brought me back to that, and he come to me, him and Nathaniel both, and Nathan, and he said, man, he said, I'm glad you told us that story about what you've seen. And I said, well, what about during the dark? Did you ever snap a photo? And he said, no, I was afraid they would see the camera flare. Uh, I said, well, did you see anything strange while you was looking through the camera lens? And he said, yeah, their eyes were red. So then I knowed. Um, Now, it's getting close to time for our camping trips because it's starting to cool off. So we won't have to worry so much about snakes here in another couple of weeks or so as much as we would normally. Um, According to legend down there at Butler Mill, uh, there's probably two or three different tales. Um, One, you can see the bridge that I'm standing on and filming the creek if you watch that video, Butler's Mill. One story is that a woman had hung herself off that bridge. Uh, Another tale was that a group of boys took this one fella, and I guess he didn't have no idea what was up, and three or four of them took that boy out and shot him and threw him over the rail of the bridge. And it's been told that you can see a black shadow walk around, down there close to the bridge, um, which I've not yet got to go try to experience that, um, which is going to be neat. That is going to be something that I'm going to be able to do uh, for the camping trip. And I do have a static night camera. Um, Now, one thing about the paranormal is if something tragic happens, sometimes it's residual, and it's like it's not aware of time and space. Uh, a spirit could just walk right through you and never know you're there, kind of thing, like a record player playing over and over. The woman that supposedly had hung herself, uh, they say has been seen hanging on that bridge. Now, would it happen every night? I doubt that very seriously. I don't know the exact date and time that this took place. I'm going to do me a little history and see if I can find out a date. Because if it is residual, it'll play itself out on that very night of every year. And it's liable to be something I can catch. Um, so that's going to make for an awesome camping trip because there's going to be so many things involved in it. We're going to fish. We're going to cook and clean. We're going to, walk through the trails and see what we can see and whatnot. Um, there are some little caves in there, not great big ones right there in that valley, but they kind of go underground, maybe 100 yards or so. So we're going to go in there and look around in that as well and see what we can see and hear. And while I'm in it, I know down here in Alabama a lot of Cherokee Indian, which I'm Cherokee Indian uh, as well. Um, Lived in these type places, um, and at several point in times, they have been known of Navajo Indian travel through these parts. And if you study back through the Navajo, that is where shapeshifters originated from. That's where that legend come from. So, you know, could that be what the white animal is that we're seeing? I don't know. I have no idea. Um, but it's very interesting, and it would be neat to catch on camera. Um, the static night camera don't have no flash to it unless you turn it on. So anything gets in front of it, it's automatically going to start videoing, and it'll video for like 60 seconds. Or I can set it for pictures, and it'll take so many pictures per second. Uh, and then up here in this cabinet right here, I've also got a trail cam that I'm going to set up. So I'm going to have all our surroundings videotaped. So there's going to be several angles of that night or two of camping. Um, that's going to be awesome. Uh, and a lot of animals around here. We have coyotes, fox, uh, black bear, mountain lion, panthers. Um, they's only been in my lifetime only one tail of a grizzly bear ever been seen here on the mountain. Which not to say there's not any, but that's the only tale I've ever heard. Uh, so we're going to definitely be prepared, for most of anything. Um, and on that note, um, we're we're going to explore more than just the cave. We're going to let Joseph do a little bit of arrowhead hunting, and I'm going to do the same thing. Uh, and I'm going to get me a metal detector, and we're going to see, if we can find anything. So that might be interesting to watch and see if we can find any metals or anything. The tale is back in 1846, 44 or 46. They were a stagecoach that went through that was Wells and Fargo, and it the wagon turned over. One of the wheels broke, and it turned over, and they spilled out a lot of coins. Uh, but now, like I said, now that's been a lot of years ago. Uh, and they've been, I'm sure, a lot of people looking down through there seeing if they can find anything. Uh, if anybody's took a metal detector down in there and took the time to check it out, I don't know. I've not heard of anybody doing it, but we're going to. So that's going to be pretty awesome. Um, let's see. And tomorrow, uh, now, like I said, now I'm going to have Mother on a little video, and she's going to talk to you about some type paranormal. Uh, when I was about the age of 13 or 14-year-old as well. I'm not going to get into the detail because I want Mother to tell you. Now you'll have to listen to her close because that stroke has affected her vocal cords. So when she speaking, it's like almost like she's teared up to cry. You know what I'm talking about, like choked up. So just listen to her very carefully. Um, and matter of fact, right next to the lot that we lived on is where my stepdad lives now. And that's where I seen that white animal. Uh, I've took pictures around there. Um, I've seen things that something was in a tree in the backyard, and it had wings, and it had all different colors: pink, purple, light blue, uh, neon colors. It was pretty, but all I could see was the wing shape. Um, I did take a photo between the house and his shed, and I caught his mom. She had passed away years ago, and she was one of them to always walk around in a long shirt to sleep in, or a nightgown. And in that photo, she was in a long shirt, like a nightgown as well then too. So that shocked him when I showed him that. Um, so there's a pretty good bit of paranormal here on this mountain. Um, I'm soon going to be doing some turkey hunting. I'm gonna cook and clean and do like my grandpa used to do uh, back years ago. He said that uh, the best way to take the game taste out of a turkey is to, dress it, pluck it, clean it, and get you a big steer pot and boil it for a couple of hours in salt water, and it will take the game taste out. So I'm gonna do that probably here in the next few days. Down here on the lower 40, on about 160 acres down here, I've been seeing a lot of wild turkeys. So that'd be something to watch and see how I do that. Um, I want to go back to um, um, Canyonland Park out there at Little River Canyon, uh, and go in the walking trails and film some of the caves. I may not go in too far or whatnot, uh, but while I'm in there, I want to run the spirit box, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the night that we're camping, uh, because I believe I'll be able to pick up a lot of Cherokee voices. And back in the day, down through here is where they led the Indians. A lot of our Indians come out from out west to South Carolina, and then was transferred down to Mobile, and that's what they called the Trail of Tears. A lot of them, when they passed away from freezing to death or hunger and whatnot, they just that's where they died. That's where they laid. Um, but a lot of them used these little shelters and caves and things to stay in and live in, and hopefully, we can catch some good voices. And it may be a type voice that we don't understand, because Navajo, yes, they can speak English, but they can also speak their style, which is almost like a Spanish type.